you, right?
As long as you're the one pulling the strings, turning things on and off, I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, and we're good to go. We are now live.
Okay.
So take it away, everyone, and I'll see you in a little bit.
Good evening, hello, and welcome to Romance Unwrapped. I'm Melanie Johnson, also known as the Writing Lush, and I am delighted to be here tonight with a flurry of amazing authors, all who have fresh, new holiday romances for you. So we're going to get started and we're going to dive right in and meet everyone, talk about their books, and talk a lot about the holidays. So let's start with Stephanie Scott. Hello.
Hi.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the holiday book we're talking about tonight?
Yes. Okay. Thank you for hosting. You're always just doing these events, and I've been to so many of them, so it's fun to actually do one. So I write contemporary romance and young adult romance. So I have a traditionally published book, and then I've been doing some books on my own. So a lot of times readers can't tell. So, who's published traditionally or not, just depends on, what circles you read. But I like to read a lot of books by traditionally published authors and indie authors. And I've been reading a lot of holiday books. I've been starting my holiday reading a little bit early this year because I had a book come out. So mine is called OMG Christmas Tree. It's just a short story, but it's kind of Hallmarky, but a little bit more like a Netflix. I would say it's not quite as sweet as a Hallmark, but just like a sweet holiday small town romance. I actually think I might be writing more holiday books, so I'm excited to do that. And
that was something you had fun with. So you're like, all right, now that I've done one, I'm ready to do some more.
Yes. Yep. So I live in Illinois area. So I actually know Melanie. We kind of live somewhat regionally near each other. Yep. So that's me.
All right. So Annie, tell me about you. So tell us a little bit about your books and about you.
Well, hi, I'm Annie Rains. I write contemporary adult romance, but I'm starting to dip my toe into young adult romance as well. I have one coming out in April. And I'm also dipping my toe in women's fiction. So I'm getting my hands in all the pots these days. But the one I'm bringing on today to share is this one. This one just released in October. This is called The Christmas Village. Oh, there you go. It's a second chance romance, which is one of my favorites. It's also enemies to lovers, which is another one of my favorites. So I kind of mixed it all up with a lot of holiday cheer. I live in Jacksonville, North Carolina, kind of near the beaches all surrounding me in a big I'm in a military community, but surrounded by beaches. Dog, cat, 3 kids, all of that stuff.
Sounds like it's like a checklist. Check.
Yep. I don't have the fish, but other than that. So that's me.
Okay. And Tiff, you probably, do you know the military base that Annie's talking about?
No, because I think you guys are Marines, right, Annie?
Yeah, I'm at Camp Lejeune.
Yeah, and
So,
we're Army family.
Okay, so I'm welcoming Tiff. Yeah, I knew that Tiff also came from a military background. So
yeah,
tell us about yourself and your holiday book you've got for us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thanks Stephanie for inviting me for this panel. Totally excited to this is my first holiday book, The Holiday Switch, right here. But this year I also came out with 2 other books. One is a contemporary fiction in a book club far away, and the other is a contemporary romance, which is It Takes Heart. But my name is Tiff again, and I am here in Central Kentucky. I think we're Central. We've only been here 4 months, so we move around a lot. I have 4 kiddos, and I'm married, and we have 3 trees this year, so very excited. This is our 3rd little tree with all of my kids' handmade ornaments in it. And I just thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I did not realize this was your first holiday book. For some reason, I thought that you've kicked out a few of them, and the cover is so adorable.
Oh, thank you. Well, like Stephanie said, like you said too, is like you write one holiday book and I'm like, oh, I really, really like this. So maybe one day I'll get to write another one.
I bet. I think it's probably going to happen. So we're going to go up north now towards Canada to say hi to Jenny.
Yes, hi. I am Jenny Holiday, and the name is a coincidence. Or maybe I was always destined to write Christmas romances. I don't know. But I am from Ontario, Canada, and I have the fish that Annie does not have. But that's it. I'm boring. We're like a no pet household except for the scaly kind. And I write contemporary romance. My newest release is called Duke Actually. I'm so bad at I can't ever get it right, like left, right, up, down with the camera. Anyway, Duke Actually is one of 3 books that are set in the same universe. They're not really a series, they're standalones, but they are set in the same universe. And we'll probably talk about it, but the origins of them was sort of a dare that I gave myself of, could I write a Hallmark movie kind of book, except make it spicy and snarky, which is more in keeping with what I do. And I wish I had thought of this tagline, but a reader said, it's like Hallmark movies, but it's produced by HBO. And I love that. I feel like that's exactly what I was going for. So yeah, I'm so happy to be here. And it does really feel like the holidays are kicking off. It's finally December, finally like seasonal to have all the holiday stuff up. And
Right. Yeah. So yeah, Hallmark with heat, right? That's your kind of Hallmark if HBO was producing.
Yeah.
So the first book was A Princess
for Christmas.
A Princess for Christmas. Yeah. So each of these books in this world, are they all going to be holiday books then?
Yes.
Aha. Okay. So I'm very excited to read this. So confession, I'm just going to put it out there. I do not think Love Actually is very romantic. So
yeah. I did wonder if I was going to get excommunicated from Romance Land with this.
No,
but they talk about it in the book. Like they discuss
both sides of the Love Actually fence. And
I don't think it's sorry, I'm cutting you off. You talk.
No, go ahead. You're taking it and writing your own spin. So tell us.
Yeah, I don't think it's romantic either, and they don't think it's romantic. They talk about it in the book. I don't think it's a rom-com. I think that's the fundamental misunderstanding about Love Actually. It's not a rom-com. It has many of the elements that we associate with rom-coms, but it does not add up to be a rom-com. We could talk more about that if we want, but you don't want my monologue about Love Actually.
I think we could have an entire panel just about dissecting Love Actually, but that's not what we're here for tonight. Right. We're here to talk about your books. And I just wanted to have a little bit of fun. And I do feel like that there is kind of like this, speaking of checklists, there's kind of like this checklist of romance tropes, holiday romance tropes specifically. And I think you might have seen there's like Hallmark bingo games you can play or drinking games you can play, to when all of these different things happen throughout the course of a Hallmark movie. So I'm curious how many of these things show up in your book. So all you have to do is raise your hand if what I say is in your book, and we're going to go pretty fast through these. So kissing under the mistletoe. Okay. Kissing in the snow. Shopping together. Wrapping presents. That one's a no. Picking out a tree. Okay. I would hope so.
The whole foundation of the book. Short book.
A lot. Trimming the tree. Oh, okay. Santa sighting. Carolers. Oh, Annie's really kicking butt here with the holiday.
I know.
Ice skating. Just got that one. Snowball fight. No snowball fights. All right, take notes. That's for your next one.
Mm-hmm.
Building a snowman. All right, maybe get outside some more. Sledding. Okay. Oh, you got sledding. All right. And do we have who slips on snow or ice? Anyone slipping and falling?
While ice skating.
While ice skating. Oh, that's a twofer. Ding ding. Making gingerbread houses. No. Another one for later. Baking cookies. Also no. All right. And let's see. I'm going to jump down here. So do we have any meals with family? Ding ding. That's everybody. Bonus points for any awkward moments. Are there awkward moments in this meal?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to jump right in with that then and talk a little bit more about that. So Tiff, tell us about the awkward family moment in your story.
Oh my gosh, the awkward family moment. Okay, so in one scene, Lila Santos is the main character of this book. She's an 18-year-old senior in high school. And this is a Rivals to Romance arc. And the person that she doesn't like is coming over for Christmas. And her parents love to do karaoke. And she loves karaoke, actually. Lila loves karaoke, but not karaoke in front of this guy. Oh. And in the middle, in the song that her mom and dad usually sings, which is the Grease song, Summer Lovin', Grandpa calls and Dad throws the microphones to both Lila and Teddy. And now they have to sing together, and that's their magical moment. So that is their, but it's an awkward moment when you first get that microphone and you're just like, what, I'm gonna have to sing this duet with this guy I don't like.
So you actually did a nice job of combining some tropes of having the awkward family meal, the awkward moment, and having karaoke popped in there too.
That's so that right.
Popular trope.
Well, Christmas needs karaoke in my opinion, so.
We're going to talk a little bit more about music and karaoke, actually. So we'll get there. But Annie, how about you? What is the, tell us about the awkward family moment.
I didn't raise my hand in that one.
I
thought about it and then I was like, no. I have family get-togethers, but the hero and the heroine aren't in the meal together.
Oh, so it's one or the other. They're not.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll let you slide. All right.
Yeah.
Jenny?
Yes. The heroine of this book is a New Yorker. She's an English professor, and she is, as is usual for average New Yorkers, is best friends with a guy who is going to marry the princess of this fictional alpine micronation. So she is in the wedding, and the hero is also in the wedding. So it's like a bridesmaid, groomsman kind of thing. And they actually strike up a friendship well before the wedding. And she is visiting for the wedding, but she goes early to kind of hang out with him at his ducal estate. He's not actually a duke yet. But his parents, the existing duke and duchess, are not supposed to be there, but it turns out that they are. And they're summoned to this dinner. And even though they're just friends, or so they think, the parents can kind of, are smarter than the two dummies and can sort of see what's happening and are not pleased. So they are extremely icy and, kind of rude without really being rude on the surface to her.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, we see which way the wind is blowing here, and we do not like it. Okay.
Right.
That would be incredibly uncomfortable for your heroine, I am sure.
Yes, I mean, he does, like, they get up and he storms out, and there's a big
so we have like a full-on like storming out of the meal thing happening.
Yeah.
Oh, that is awkward.
Stephanie, how about you?
So my character, she's city girl, kind of trying to make it on her own, and so she's coming back home for Christmas, but it's not her home. So it's her mom has remarried a stepdad, so it's his house. And so she's trying to kind of impress them and everything. So they say, can you pick up a tree at the local lot? She picks up this very big tree, and that's kind of the calamity of it. But they're trying to constantly help her. And so she, her car has a flat tire, and so they're, going to fix it for her. They're trying to get her to enroll in college again. She's a college dropout, but she, doesn't view it that way. She just thought college really isn't for her, and she's trying to be an independent businesswoman. And, it's that thing when you're in your 20s where you're trying to figure all that out. So they think they're being helpful, and they're at the family dinner, and the stepdad's offering her a job in town, and you can just move here with us. We've got a room for you, and there's a job just the next town over, and we've figured it all out for you. And she gets very upset because, you want to be your own person. You don't necessarily, if you need to fall back on your parents, that's one thing. But if it's like, no, we don't like what you're doing, come home and we'll fix your life, is how she sees it. So they have a bit of a blow up. But at the end, her mom does stick up for her. So there's a little bit of that, because I always like to have family dynamics that are maybe not quite as expected. So I wanted her to have an ally with her mom, but then there's still a lot of tension with the stepdad.
Sure.
It's a little bit more awkward, but try to put some funny moments in it too.
So let's talk a little bit about your inspiration for this story. Like, what inspired you to write Oh My God, Christmas Tree?
So I have a friend who they are a family of 4, and they had moved out to Denver area, and they let the kids pick out a Christmas tree, and it was this giant tree. It was their first year out there, and they were like, okay, well, we've got like a 2-story like foyer living room. They were renting a house. We're like, this is a big tree, but we'll take it. Like, let's make the kids happy. We, had them move from Illinois to Denver this year, whatever. So they found out later that this tree was supposedly saved for someone, and it was like a Denver Bronco, like football player or something. But like for some reason they didn't pick it up. So like they just had this massive, beautiful tree. Like, oh, I guess that was saved. So I just thought that was funny. That seems like a romance novel, like, so the whole thing is that this tree, she picks out the biggest tree in the lot. It's only a few days before Christmas, and it's supposed to be for the mayor's event. And then the mayor's son was supposed to pick it up. He's trying to make life easier for his mom, the mayor, who has, I think it was like cancer. She has something that where it's kind of sidelining her medical treatment. So he's like, I'm going to take care of everything for you, Mom. I'm going to do this whole Christmas event. How hard could it be? So he's a guy, he's trying, forgetting some details. So he forgets to pick up the tree. Tree people give it to her, and then tree's too big for her car. She kind of goes off the road. He, of course, finds her. Then he's like, hey, maybe I could help you out with this tree. So there's some kind of like covert, ideas there. So I kind of took the seed of what happened with my friends and then thought, well, how could that be fun in a romance? And how could you make a fun meet cute over this tree?
I think, yeah, taking the seed of something is often what happens and you run with it. Annie, how about you? Like, what inspired you to write this story?
Well, I already knew who the characters were going to be because this is book 2 in my series. And so I knew that my heroine her mother had died last Christmas, and she inherited this huge pink house in a neighborhood called the Village. And she's all alone in this big pink house, and she inherited her mom's dog as well. And she also inherited her mom's debt. So she's trying to figure out a way to pay off the debt before the new year, because that was her goal. And she decides to rent out the room above the garage, and her ex-fiance who left her at the altar is the one who wants to rent the room above the garage.
Oh, really?
So kind of my inspiration was already there. I already knew where she lived and what her story was. And in order to pay off the debt, they decide to join the neighborhood's Christmas decorating contest. So I like to collect Christmas villages. So that was one of my inspirations. And I thought it would be fun if the neighborhood was kind of like a real life Christmas village. So they do a lot of decorating the house, trying to win the contest. And that's kind of what brings them together and helps them work through their issues and happily ever after.
Of course, of course. Yeah, so I can't even imagine, like, I mean, my husband and I, like, trying to do something like that together would not bring us closer together. Like decorating the outside of the house, one of us would be stringing the other one up.
Yeah, and that's not my idea of fun. I'm not one that decorates outside. That's hard work, but it was fun writing it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, and the whole pink house, is it pink on the inside too, or just on the outside?
No. It's just pink on the outside. And there's a historic pink house near where I live.
So
and I've always thought it was so romantic.
Got it.
So that was also inspiration.
Yeah, and there are areas in Illinois, there's like certain towns that have like these older homes, like turn of the century. And yeah, you cannot paint them unless it's like approved by this whole host of elements and things. All right, Tiff, tell us the inspiration behind your story.
Yeah, well, before I do, I want to say that Stephanie's meet cute for her short story is so good. I mean, you lost your tree and then you're driving down the road and there's your tree. It's like, wait a sec, let me go get it. So it was really, really cute. But so when I was given the opportunity to write a Christmas story, the holiday switch, I was so excited because I think I had been putting lots of things together like for a long time, and I just threw them all together. But the city of Holly came first because I've always wanted to write just like a 3/4 year Christmas town. So it bloomed from there. But really the inspiration of, there is this place called the Bookworm Inn, and that's where Lila works. And it is the site of the movie the fictional movie Holiday by the Lake. And that's where the whole town is about this one inn. And I was thinking of the epic movie, The Notebook, and how I was thinking, what, because I do want to visit places like Dawson's Creek, where it was shot. I would love to be able to climb up side of Dawson's house, and that entire city being based upon that one show, so that's where it came from. And a visit to the house of A Christmas Story. So
yeah,
I got,
you can go, right?
Yeah, it was interesting because we're a family and we couldn't park anywhere because it was really in that tiny town and the streets were super narrow. But we did get up to the house, and the leg lamp was at the window, and across the street from the house was and across the street from the house was like this gift shop where they sold everything A Christmas Story. So of course we got everything A Christmas Story, like anything I could think of, we just bought it. And I'm a fangirl of stuff like that. So I literally just put all of that into this one book, and it just blossomed to that. So there's not one major inspiration. It's just everything.
All of those holiday ideas you've been hoarding forever, and you finally get
I just threw it in there.
And so Jenny, for you already had kind of kicked off a series with the Christmas book before this one. So, going into this, what was your inspiration?
The series itself came from watching Hallmark Christmas movies with my dad, who's a huge fan of them. We don't actually have the Hallmark Channel in Canada, so I don't get to see too many of them. I know there's a few of them on YouTube, but I don't watch them normally because I can't. But he loves them and watches them voraciously, always has.
I want to meet your dad one day because you always have the cutest, sweetest stories about him.
So yeah, he's a sweetie. A few years ago, I was home visiting him just after the holidays, and we were binging a bunch of them. And he, even though he's watched hundreds of them, he can never sort of see his way through to the end. He gets very he's the most guileless person. He'll be like, how is this going to work out? I just don't see how this is going to happen. And are they going to make it?
Sweet.
And I can always, not always, but I can usually, yes, they're going to make it, Dad. But also I can usually kind of predict the major plot beats. And he's just always amazed. So I almost as a joke to myself, I thought, I wonder if I could write a book version of this, but like the kind of book that I write, like my version of this. And so I just decided to come up with the most bonkers, the first book is called a Princess for Christmas. That's literally what it is. It's about a cab driver who picks up a princess who's at the United Nations making a speech, and she's late for some diplomatic ball. And so she hails the cab, so it's sort of I just crammed in all the bonkers, Hallmarky, tropey, Christmassy stuff. And it became a series.
I love it. And your dad needs to be in one of these books. He is the quintessential, sweet, fatherly figure who's gosh darn it, how are these two lovebirds going to get together?
Yeah. He just can never see his way through to the end.
All right, so we're going to move a little bit into, so we talked about the inspiration. I would like to know, so we're talking about movies actually now, talking a little bit about how you're not stealing, but borrowing and using all of these elements we see in all of these holiday movies over and over and over again. So your book has been optioned now for Hallmark or HBO, whatever, Netflix, and you have you've been invited to help out with the casting, and they want to know what scene they should use for the actors to do a reading for the audition. So thinking about your book and their characters, what scene do you think you would pick to try and see who would be the best actors for your roles and why? Jenny, I'm going to start right back with you.
I think I would choose, there's a scene pretty early in the book where she has to go to a work holiday party at which her not quite ex-husband, it will be there, who left her, but is dragging his heels on the divorce, and she's not excited about it at all. And so on a whim, she invites him to join her, but they have not, well, I guess they have met in person briefly, but they don't really know each other yet. And she doesn't really like him, but she thinks, well, this swanky European, he's a baron at the time, can show up with me to the party, that'll work out. So they meet at the party and do the rounds at the party. So it's I would choose that because they're sort of getting to know each other, but they're on stage, and he's very witty, and he thinks fast and talks fast. So it would be just, and there's instant chemistry between them. You know, they think it's friend chemistry. It is friend chemistry at the beginning, but he sort of bails her out of this situation, and she doesn't really like him, but she appreciates what he's doing. And they're kind of allied together against these sort of forces of evil in the form of her colleagues. And then they sort of drop in, do their thing, and then they blow out and go to a bar and drink too much.
Aha. So yes, you get to see that banter, that chemistry. That's a great way to see, okay, who can I match up to make this work? Okay, Tiff, how about you? What scene are we going to be looking at to cast your movie?
I think there's a scene in my book where Lila and Teddy are opposites of one another. She's totally type A, and he is totally not Lila's way, you know? So he's just not wanting to do anything that she asks of him because he now works at the bookworm inn with her. So in this inn, there is a free library, which she manages, and she's very proud of this library. And it is categorized exactly the way it's supposed to be categorized, in her way. And this scene, the specific scene, would be her coming into work and just dreading it because she has to work with Teddy, and people telling her, you know, when you go out there, just relax, okay? And she's like, what's going on? And when she goes out there, she realizes that her books have been reorganized so they're rainbow spines. Oh. And Teddy is so excited, right? Because he's like, look at all these people now wanting to go to this free library side because it's now so pretty. And she is trying not to fall apart, but then also falling apart. So I think that would be a good scene because it'll show their differences, mm-hmm. and it will really show her personality, which is like, I'm just trying to keep it together.
Yeah,
she's so upset.
Yeah, I can already picture it. So that's a great one. And as soon as you said, you know, her way, I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Stephanie, how about you? Where are we what you're gonna use to cast your movie?
You know, I was thinking if you want the chemistry, like to see if they're compatible type of thing, because that's always kind of a bummer when you see a movie and you're like, I don't know, I don't really see like the chemistry between these two. So there's a scene where she's shopping with her mom in just like the local whatever gift shop. Oh, the town in my book too is known, I think it's number 2 in Illinois for Christmas. So it's this little small town that like is trying to, you know, they can't beat Chicago, but they are like number 2 destination or something in the Midwest for Christmas. So they're all about Christmas, and she's kind of a bit of a humbug. And so anyway, she's shopping with her mom and he's in there, and they're kind of like, it's the coats brushing against each other, and like you know, he's seeing her and they're close in a gift shop and he's like about to knock something over. And it's like that kind of movement that I always like in a movie, I feel like can be really cinematic, where it's like those close moments. That can be hard to capture in a book, but I think that would be interesting for actors to try to play against. Like, how do they act when it's a little bit more understated, but it needs to be like the sexual chemistry?
Oh yeah. And can they get that to translate to the audience? Definitely.
Especially in sweeter romance. So like mine is very like kissing, hand holding, you know, mine's not spicy, but it's like, you still have to go for those same attraction notes, right? That people want in a romance.
Even harder to make sure that telegraphs correctly, because you can't use the crutch of the physical intimacy to kind of like, so you need that chemistry to be dialed up higher. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a skill. Like when I read that in a book and it's done well, like that's great for an author to be able to do that well.
Okay, well, we're going to talk more about favorite holiday recs later. So think about like what books you think are doing that. So Annie, how about you? Tell us what scene you would use to cast the movie.
Okay. So if I was going to audition people, I think you have to see them kiss. I think like the first kiss scene, because then you can really see the chemistry. So
it kind of goes opposite of what Stephanie said. I love it.
It's got to be a good kiss. Well, I write sweet too. So it's all about the kiss. So I chose the first kiss. And for this one, I like rainy. I think rain is very romantic. So when I met my husband, he had the last name Rains, which is why I went on a date with him. So this first kiss for this book.
Annie, does he know this?
Yes.
Okay. So side note, I do a fun, actually, I think almost everyone here has been on it. I do a fun thing called Mad About Meet Cutes, where I talk to authors about how they met their significant others. So I'm going to be inviting you on for next year. So I need to hear about this. I'm going to go on a date with you because of your last name story.
There's a whole long story for that. But for this one, my heroine she's starting a new class. She's a midwife and she wants to teach mothers to be or parents to be in the community building that's in this neighborhood that she lives in. And so she was hoping it was going to be a big turnout and that lots of people would show up, and like 3 people showed up. It was a really big flop and she's kind of upset. And her ex-fiance has already moved in the neighborhood, living in her spare room, and he's taking her dog out for a walk. And it starts to get like a storm happens. It just comes up upon them. And so he goes to check on her to see how it went. And of course the storm hits and there's lightning and thunder and the lights go out, and he's trying to comfort her because she's very upset. And they've kind of been bumping heads until that point, and it kind of ends in a nice kiss. And I think that would be, I would audition them and turn out the lights.
She's like any special effects. Like, okay, now I want to see the water dripping off. You describing it, I'm like, all right, she's like, she's in this really bummed mood. He comes in and they're like, so how do we get from that emotional beat to this other one? Like that'd be great. So speaking of movies, I do want to ask, so do you have a favorite holiday movie, and is there one that you have to watch every year? Otherwise it's not the holidays if you don't see it. And if there's a movie... I think your dog wants to tell us what movie he wants to watch, Tiff.
It's just, oh my goodness.
It happens. So yeah, and then there's a movie that you saw that's coming out this year that you would love to see as well. Annie, go ahead and let us and tell us.
Oh, I don't know if I have a favorite one or not. I watch The Christmas Story every year. Okay. That's always, since I was a child, that's one that we always watch. And Home Alone has been a big hit with my household for the last several years. So
I'm still listening. I'm typing to our audience. If you have a favorite Christmas movie, holiday movie, please drop it in the comments. Tell us what holiday movies you're looking forward to this season. Share all of that in the comments so we can see what you're really into and you're enjoying as well. So Annie, are you looking forward to any particular holiday movies this year?
I haven't seen any previews for anything, so I'm anxious to hear what you guys say so then I can steal it.
Okay. Tiff, how about you? Do you have a favorite? I mean, obviously The Christmas Story, you went to the house.
Holiday is my favorite, actually. Yeah, I'll watch that all year long if I just want a hit of Jude Law.
So I finally saw that for the very first time last year. I had never seen it before. So I saw it. I Want That Cabin. And yes, Mr. Napkinhead was.
Yes. And
it's a lot of very pretty people.
Yeah, and those were like Cameron Diaz's like days, when she had like a lot of movies all at once. Charlie's Angels, and There's Something About Mary, and everything else. That's like, that was the era, and I just love The Holiday. It's such a good movie.
So is there any upcoming holiday movies that you've seen that you really want to catch?
No. Maybe it's because I haven't
so busy working on this, you haven't had a chance to even look. Jenny, how about you?
Everyone's going to laugh at me, but my holiday movie that I have to watch every year and have watched every year since I was a child, because it started with my mother, is Christmas Eve on Sesame Street, which is like old school Sesame Street. Like, I don't know, from before I was born. I think it's like original Sesame Street. You know, we had it on, well, it used to be on TV, and then we had it on VHS. And I now have it, I bought it on iTunes, but it's the old like square, grainy, but it's so wonderful. It's all these little vignettes. There's like a Bert and Ernie Gift of the Magi storyline, and the music is great. It's not Christmas without that. And I now force my family to watch that every year, but highly recommend. And the one I'm looking forward to is maybe a little bit more on brand. It is Netflix has one this year called, I think it's called A Castle for Christmas. And it is got Brooke Shields, and I don't know how you say his last name, Carrie Elwes. I don't know how you say his name. He
so
was
good. I actually did see that.
Okay, see?
I'm
I
losing my
love
mind.
this. Like, they must be what? They must be in
So
the
good.
50s. Is that right?
You know what?
They're,
Yeah.
so you don't ever really see that in books or in movies. So I'm really excited about like, sort of bonkers Christmas romance starring people who are a little bit more seasoned than your average romance hero and heroine.
Seeing Brooke Shields is just so, it just comforted me. Do you know what I mean? Because she is really a blast from our from my past, and to see her in this great setting, you're just like, my gosh, you're so beautiful. And she looks great. She looks like she's 50. She's over 50. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's such a nice thing to see.
And there was a movie, like everybody knows him from The Princess Bride, but there was a movie before The Princess Bride called Lady Jane, which was the story of Lady Jane Grey, who was through the machinations of her parents, was crowned Queen of England for 9 days, and he was her husband. And that movie was like, a teen, it was like an 80s, I mean, it wasn't, it was history, but it was like also like an 80s teen movie. And that movie was like my,
is this like the TikTok thing where you're like watching and we zoom in on you as your sexual awakening happens?
Well, I think it's more like my romantic awakening. Like I could literally start at the beginning of that movie right now and like recite like easily the first 20 minutes for you guys. Which I will not do
here from Sesame Street.
Right. But I love him like in that way that my inner teen self, like I don't really care about Princess Bride, but him from that movie.
It helps that it's the Tudors. Like anything that has anything to do with the Tudors is like catnip.
We have like this same obsession with the Tudor.
Well, now he's going to be in a castle again, so it's going to be like, oh my God, I'm so excited.
I know, and she's a romance. She's not romance author. She's an author who like has written all these books, and then her most recent book, I guess, went, and so she like kind of runs away to, I'm going to run to Scotland. Yeah, I wish. Like, so I'm saving that one. I'm planning to watch.
Me too. Me too.
And I'm going to force him to sit down and watch that with me. That's a good one. All right, so Stephanie, how about you?
Really recommend Castle for Christmas. It's good. And I don't know if you all know this, but a romance author is one of the screenwriters, Allie
Carter.
Allie Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So she writes. She's been writing YA for like a decade or longer, long time. So that I have to say, I did not know that until the movie was over. But as we were watching, I was actually group watching it with my book club, or the book club I'm a part of, which was super fun. We were on like the chat thing at the same time. And I was like, this feels really well written. Like some holiday movies are a little hokey, and I feel like it rides that line really well, where it's not hokey, but it has all the tropes you like. It's very beautiful too. It's got like all of it. It's good.
So is there a holiday movie that you have to see every year that you would consider to be like your all-time favorite?
It's hard to say, but I'd say the one I watch most consistently is Little Women, the 90s one, which isn't like 100% a Christmas movie, but there's Christmas like stuff in it. So I always associate it with Christmas. But when you mentioned the Sesame Street one, I have not seen that, but I loved the Muppet Christmas as a kid. and would like watch it. I was not one of those kids who watched the same movie all the time, but I had this one VHS that had like Muppets Christmas and Garfield or whatever, and I would watch it all the time. And I just have this thing for the Muppets. I actually just recently watched the Muppets have a Halloween special that's new
Yes, that was fun
on
too.
Disney, and I'm just watching it. I love them. So
So
really,
yes, I love the Muppets Christmas Carol as well. And when I used to be a high school teacher, like right at the end of the before like winter break, everyone's brains are fried. So I would often play Muppets Christmas Carol. The kids get so excited when it's movie day. So one of my kids pointed out, and we had to go back because I'm like, you're lying. There is a moment that Beaker flips off the camera in Muppets Christmas Carol. So
I imagine high schoolers would catch that. They would fixate on that. Probably.
I'm like, oh, Beaker. It's so yeah. So I just watched Single All the Way, which I thought was really fun. That one's on Netflix. They're saying it's the first gay lead Christmas movie that Netflix has put out. I can't confirm that. I don't know, but I thought it was super cute. I really
Yay, I want to see that.
I heard a lot of people raving about Love Hard, but I have to say that one was kind of a meh for me.
I watched that too. I liked it enough. Thought it was fun.
So, right. I would put it on par with any other Hallmark holiday movie, but I wasn't like, didn't give me all the feels. But everyone reacts differently to things, and speaking of how you react differently to things, I know, like, I have a list of Christmas songs that make me I won't say homicidal, but pretty close. That some people love, and I just like, I hate this song so much, I can't stand it. So I want to talk a little bit about Christmas music. I don't know about you, but like when I write, I've written 2 holiday stories now for anthologies, and often you're writing these nowhere near Christmas time when you're writing these books. So for me, to help get me in the mood, I go to music. Music is like the go-to to put me in the right headspace. So I would love to know if you had to kind of pick the definitive Christmas or holiday song for your book, what that would be. Stephanie, do you have one?
Now, I did listen to holiday music when I was writing it, but I found for me, I had to switch to like instrumental because the words I find too distracting. So I don't really have for me, I guess the soundtrack I always associate with Christmas is the classic White Christmas. My mom had like vinyl albums. She had, the old records. And there's something about listening to like the old music on vinyl that I really, really like. So I would say
there is something to that. Yeah.
It feels different. Like my brother-in-law collects vinyl. It's very expensive, right? Like a lot of these bands have vinyl like exclusives, and it's an expensive hobby, but like I'm like, I get it though. There's like a different sound to it. So that's kind of my classic favorite. But as far as like actually writing to music, I kind of need the instrumental.
That's okay. So I want to kind of pull up, because Tiff talked about karaoke and having that in her holiday story. If we were all at a party tonight and we broke out the karaoke machine and had to do karaoke carols, what Christmas song would Stephanie be singing?
That's a good question.
While she's thinking about it, audience, if
Yes.
you're watching, please let me know. You're on stage. We're giving you the microphone. What holiday song are you going to sing for Christmas karaoke? Do you have, Steph? If you can't think of one, that's okay.
Okay, I'm going to pass for now. If I think of one, I will. It's not going to be that Mariah Carey song. I can't do that.
Oh, come on. It would be like I would sing it and I would like scare everybody out of the room. Jenny, how about you? If you had to like pick a song that kind of defined your book, what do you think? Do you have one?
I don't really have a good reason for this, but like what just comes to mind is "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas."
Oh.
And there's no like, it's not in the book. There's no direct lyrical connection. I just kind of, the mood of that song makes me in the same mindset as the book.
Yes, and that's it. The mood vibe. That's all. That's the right vibe or the mood for your song. "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" is probably my favorite Christmas song of all time. And it's hard for me to pick whose version I love the most because I like multiple versions of that song. Judy Garland, Diana Krall. There's so many good ones. Ingrid Michaelson, I think, just put one out. So many good ones. So if you were going to go on stage and sing karaoke, what song would you be singing for us?
Well, I have done this in the before times. I had a very active neighborhood karaoke group of a bunch of families that get together. And the best Christmas karaoke song, in my opinion, is Fairy Tale of New York.
I don't even
The
know this
Pixies.
song.
You would know it if you heard it, you know.
Okay.
Now you're gonna. I'm not gonna sing it, but you know, it's
No, really, Jen. I'm not sure. Could you just a little bit for?
no. And there is, and we actually have like a family-friendly version of it because it's not. It has some lyrics that have not aged well from whenever it's from.
Dear.
I don't know, from the 80s or something, but.
Oh yes.
Fairy Tale of New York. You'd know it. Google it.
I will Google it. Yes. All right.
So, you know, it's a punk Christmas song.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the song that kind of defines the holiday switch. Can you think of one?
I would probably say Let It Snow.
Aw.
Yeah, just because it's snowing the whole time that they're together. And those important times, like the first kiss, you know, it's snowing. So that I would say that would be it. And then if I were to sing a holiday, you know, just karaoke in general, because when we do karaoke, it doesn't have to be holiday songs. It would always have to be I've Had the Time of My Life from the Dirty Dancing soundtrack.
So even if it was Christmas karaoke, you would get up there and you'd be like, I'm singing this song.
It is the song, like when I hear it on the radio, like I am singing it out loud. If I'm alone in the car, because I'm actually pretty shy about singing in front of other people, I get very red, and that's very hard to get red, but I get very red.
At a stoplight, and I look over, you'd be in the car
or in the shower, even. But and I'll sing both parts, you know, whatever.
Okay, Annie, you're up. So I'm trying to think, is there a Christmas song about a pink house? I can't think of one.
No, well, I think it would be Rocking Around the Christmas Tree.
Oh, yeah.
They're having fun and they're decorating and they have the trees up, and I think that would go with it. But if I had to sing, and I would never sing karaoke. I sing at home all the time, but I wouldn't do karaoke. I think I had to write it down because it's going to slip my mind. Baby, It's Cold Outside.
Okay.
I love to sing that one.
And that actually came up in Love Hard. If you watch it, I think that was of the movie. That was actually a really cute scene where they kind of like,
that was cute.
Like, we're gonna make this not pervy.
Yeah. And you know what? It's so funny because I didn't realize that it was pervy. You know what I mean? We sing that all the time, or I know the lyrics, but I didn't key into it. So when they switched it up, I'm like, oh, it's interesting. It's good. Yeah. It was good with the way they did that.
So I'm going to read the song. No, sorry. Now that you rephrased the question, or I heard it different. The whole title is a play on Oh Christmas Tree. It's OMG Christmas Tree. And I don't know if other people get that, but I was greatly amused by it as I thought of my own title.
So that would work then, yeah. Oh, Christmas Tree. I was gonna actually add. So some people chiming in. Sarah Lawrenson said Santa Baby. Yes. So I am an Eartha Kitt fan. Madonna. No offense to you. I love the Eartha Kitt version of Santa Baby. Robert Zimmerman says no Christmas songs, but listening to Hanukkah playlists. Yes. So Robert, Stacey Agdern actually does a really good job sharing Hanukkah music, and also not just like classics, but like newer. More like there's like pop Hanukkah songs, so she might have something for you if you're looking. And April actually is chiming in and saying yes, so we've got some good ones here. Muppets Christmas came up, and some good answers here. Oh, Dominic the Donkey. Have you heard that song before?
I don't know that.
Oh, so April, nobody knows. I'm not singing that song because there are actual donkey noises in the song. It's Dominic the Italian Christmas Donkey, and I can't believe none of you don't know that.
I feel like maybe if I heard it, my brain these days, I don't know.
So the holiday romance that I just did, the novella. There's a whole scene with "I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas." Have you heard that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Yeah, so there's like a whole cute moment that kind of revolves around that. All right, we're gonna move on to lightning round because I want to make sure we have a chance to all rack some other holiday books. So if you're watching, you can play along and answer these questions too. It's just a quick game of this or that. So we're gonna go boom, boom, boom. All right, so we're gonna start with you, Stephanie. Okay. So, and we're just going to go around. I'm going to like just go Stephanie, Jenny, Tiff, Annie, and you just have to answer. All right, first question, sugar cookies or gingerbread?
Sugar cookie.
Jenny?
Sugar cookies.
Tiff?
Gingerbread.
Gingerbread.
And Annie. Okay, I'm also team gingerbread. Next question, starting with Steph, hot cocoa or mulled cider?
Cocoa.
Jenny?
Cocoa, if I have to have some.
Tiff?
Cider.
And Annie?
Cocoa.
Cocoa. All right, cocoa. And you can spike it. Nobody said you couldn't spike it. Okay, next one, white lights or multicolor? Stephanie?
White.
Jenny?
Multicolor.
Tiff?
White.
And Annie?
I'm gonna mix them all up.
Oh, so this tree is awesome, but you see behind me, I found these lights. I'm not going to show you right now, but there's a switch and these lights switch automatically from white to multicolor.
Ooh.
I
It
have
is
that
like
too.
the most amazing thing ever. Cause I like the white lights. My husband likes multicolor, so we would rotate every year. But now, like he comes in the room, it's multicolor. I come in the room, it's like that dress from Sleeping Beauty where it keeps changing. So I went after Christmas last year and hunted down more strands of these lights because I'm like, oh, this is the best thing in the entire world. All right, and then moving on, next question, Stephanie, real tree or fake tree?
Fake.
Jenny?
Real.
Tiff?
Fake.
And Annie?
Real.
Ah, yeah, see, I've been fake my whole life. The only time we had a real tree, my dog, I know, I said I've been fake my whole life. We had fake trees. The only time we had a real tree, my dog peed on it. So that was. So do you find it hard, those of you that are real
That's
tree
funny.
people? Like, is it like just a
Yeah,
giant
I've
mess
heard.
by the end?
I've never not had a real tree, like in my childhood or my adulthood. So it just is like, it is what it is. It just,
Like, this is
Like-
the thing that we do.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it is a mess, but that's just like part of the deal.
It's part of Christmas. It's part of the experience. Okay, we're gonna finish up here. So, Stephanie, if you had to do it, do you want to hit the slopes or sit by the fire?
I'll say slopes because I used to ski.
Jenny,
Sit by the fire.
Tiff,
Sit by the fire.
Annie.
Sit by the fire.
Ah. Okay, Stephanie, I'll hit the slopes with you. I think I would probably prefer to sit by the fire, but we'll hit the slopes. And then last one, holiday trip or staycation. And now this is in Fantasyland where there are no travel restrictions.
Honestly, staycation still for holidays.
That's
Yeah.
that's that's what you want to do. Jenny,
Trip.
okay.
Yep.
Tiff,
Stay.
Annie.
Stay.
I love that, all the different ones. So we're going to move on now to talking about some of your favorite holiday romances that you really love or that you would love to recommend. And if you're watching, please drop your recommendations in the comments. Let us know what holiday romances are on your rec list. Okay. So Annie, can you tell us a couple of romances you rec?
I haven't read any this season, but the last one I read was In a Holidays by Christina Lauren.
Mhm.
And I keep shouting that one out because I loved it so much. I thought it was so much fun.
And that's like got a little bit of a paranormal twist, right? Where it's almost like a Groundhog Day situation.
Yeah. I loved it. It was fun and the characters were great. And I might read that one again.
Okay. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be new. Like it could be any holiday romance that you just really want to recommend. Tiff?
I really loved, I loved In the Holidays as well, but I also loved Terry Wilson's Christmas Charms. And it's about a woman who finds out that the man that her boyfriend did not propose. So she goes off on a trip back home and she finds a bracelet. And suddenly whenever a charm shows up in her bracelet, something special happens around her. So it also has a little bit of magic in it. It's really
Yeah,
cute.
I like that touch of magical realism. That's
Mhm.
fun. That makes it really fun. Jenny?
My all-time favorite Christmas romance, it's a bit old now, is called A Christmas Gone Perfectly Wrong by Cecilia Grant, who I don't know if she's writing anymore, but it's just a beautiful story. It might even be a novella. It's not very long, or it's a short novel.
I feel like this was being racked last year by a lot of people as well.
It's
Like, hey, you have to read
wonderful. It's a
I'm
Regency.
reading it now.
Oh yeah, it's a Regency, and it's about a man who, I forget if he gets snowed in, and he ends up having to escort the daughter of these people to this party, and he's trying to get home to his siblings. Which, when you describe that as the plot, it doesn't sound like there's much happening, but it's just like the process of him sort of unwinding a little bit. It's so beautifully done.
So that's called A Christmas Gone Perfectly Wrong.
Right.
Right. Okay, Stephanie?
So I'm reading that now, and we read a Cecilia Grant book in that series. I think she only has the one series.
Yeah, the
Read it
whole
with the
series
book
is
club.
great.
Yeah, so it is good. I have way too many recommendations. Okay, so I like the Kate Claiborne book. I don't remember what it's called, but it's a novella. She has a holiday novella. I have on pre-order Amor Actually, which has
Oh yes, the lovely anthology that's based off Love Actually, but
yes, so I have that on my list. It comes out next week. I'm reading like 5 books right now because I bought a bunch of stuff. So I'm reading a book called Christmas Tree Cove that's by Sarah Vance Tompkins, and it's set in northern Michigan. It's like a small town romance, second chance romance. The woman's pilot where she ferries people to this little fishing village island. I don't know. The setting is like totally working for me. I'm originally from Michigan. I love it. And then I just picked up Only One Bed for Christmas by Jackie Lau.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
by Jackie Lau, yeah.
Read it yet, but like I read her Thanksgiving one, and I don't know if that's part of that same series, but that one was a lot of fun. And then I have this book. I have I ordered them from Love Sweet Arrow, so I just got them like yesterday.
Oh, perfect
Oh,
timing.
look, there's even like a little signed thing in here. I just found the book. Anyways,
Yeah,
that was fun to get.
Yeah, and if you're watching, you can order all of these books from Love Sweet Arrow. You can grab those books
Here's
and
mine. Yeah, I didn't have mine earlier.
Pack up your stack your Christmas book reading list. So I was going to recommend Amor Actually as well, which is out next Tuesday, and they take all of the different kind of like scenes, like storylines from Love Actually, and kind of reinvent them in different ways, which it sounds like a super fun story. I also just finished reading a book called The Certainty of Chance by Jacqueline Middleton, and it is, if you wish you could travel this year and can't, it is like London at Christmas time, and it is so like you just get like really kind of deep into that. It's like all these little details. So I felt like I was actually there. It was super cute. And then Sarah Morgenthaler has Mistletoe and Mr. Right, which is lots of fun, set in Alaska, in a little town in Alaska. And there's lots of moose shenanigans. And there is a B&B full of taxidermied squirrels, which is just hilarious. So a lot of fun options there. So if you check out the recommendations that people have put in the list. I'm trying to look here and see what other recommendations people are suggesting. Santa Suit by MK Andrews. We Met in December by Rosie Curtis. So yeah, great. Thanks for sharing those recommendations. Before we go, I wanted to ask if you have anything else coming up, other events, other things happening that you would like to tell us about. Now is the time. So Stephanie, do you have anything else happening or going on that you'd want to share, or where our watchers, audience people can go and find you after today?
Probably Instagram is where I'm on the most often. I'm at Steph Scott YA, and I have a little pinned highlight of anything I'm doing. So some of the stuff I'm doing the next couple weeks are on Facebook. I don't tend to do a lot on Facebook, so there are just some authors who have already set up these elaborate Facebook group parties, and so I just got to join in, and that's fabulous. So I was in one today, so I'm offering some prizes and stuff there.
Yeah, if you're on, I mean, I know Facebook, people don't like to, but if you're on Facebook, now's a great time of year to kind of pop into these different parties because there's all kinds of great giveaways. Jenny, I think you've got a lot going on right now.
Yeah, I have a lot of events next week. If you're interested in them, probably the best place to go is my Instagram. I have them all pinned on my link tree there. But you can probably find me more frequently on Twitter, or I do have a Facebook reader group with a couple friends who write rom-coms who are also like local, Canadian rom-coms, we call
Jackie's
them.
in there too, right?
Yeah, Jackie Lau and Farah Heron. So it's called Northern Heat. So you can search Northern Heat on Facebook. We mostly talk about donuts and Keanu Reeves seem to be the main themes of the group.
Two perfectly delicious things.
Yeah, you know. So yeah.
Okay. So Northern Heat, that was called.
Northern Heat on Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
Tiff, what you got going on?
So I've got one last event before the year is over. It's on December 18, and it's with Nurse Bookie, and that is an Instagram, pretty big bookstagrammer on Instagram. And so, but that's where I'm mostly at these days, and my handle is at Tiff Marcello. I also have a podcast, Stories to Love podcast, and there'll be more episodes coming out before the end of the year, and I'll have some updates there as well.
Fun, exciting. Annie, how about you?
I have actually my first real book signing in a couple years. So on December 11th, page 158 in Raleigh, in North Carolina, I'm going to be there with Reese Ryan, who's another romance author, and Nancy Nagel, who's also a romance author, and we'll be there at noon. And
Nancy has like a bunch of holiday books, doesn't she?
Yeah. So it should be a lot of fun. We're all, well, Nancy Nagel recently moved, but we're North Carolina authors, so that's going to be fun. And you can find me online at Annie Rains Books.
Annie Rains Books. Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I've had so much fun. I feel like I'm really ready now I'm not going to be able to read all these books before Christmas, but I will try. And if you're watching, make sure you come back on the 17th for the next episode of the Boozy Book Broads. We're going to have Maureen Lanker from Entertainment Weekly kind of doing a recap of 2021 and what we're looking forward to in 2022. So thank you so much for joining me, everyone, and have a great evening.